What's happening? My name is Blake Harris, and this is the Music City Mindset, and we have an insightful show for you today, one that I hope can give you perspective of where you're going in your life. In order to have proper perspective, I think you have to have enough people around you to give you the proper feedback that you need to take those steps forward. Luckily, I'm not by myself in here tonight, so I can get that feedback with me. My best friend for going on 30 years, owner of Board and Brush in Hendersonville, and the only one here not a TSU legend, but spent just as much time on campus as I did, if not more, Evan Butler.
Should have an honorary degree.
Dion is still out celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, big dog. Can't wait for you to come back. Evan, with art, I know with the gym, if you really look back at my journey, you could say that I've been building what I've built with the gym. You can make the argument that I've been doing this for over a decade, 12 years in the making. But 10, 12 years ago, I wasn't doing things and making decisions on things like, okay, in a decade, I'm going to own a gym.
Right.
But there's some people that do that. So like with art, with Board and Brush, I mean, other aspects of what you're doing, was there a point of like, this is the vision? And what was that like for you?
Man, I always wanted to, making money on art's a whole, it's not easy.
No.
And it's not always most profitable, but I've always known I wanted to be building something as far as relationships with people, a people business where you interact with people, they come take classes, they come sit, have a good time, maybe their family members, friends, whoever comes and sits down. And that's when you really see the art start flowing. People get comfortable, people get happy, they start catching up, they start painting, they start sculpting, you name it. And all of a sudden, something beautiful comes out of it. And that's why, that's where the spontaneous beauty comes from.
We grew up with people that it seemed like they knew what they wanted to do since the time we were kids. And then some of them got what they wanted, and it's not really what they thought it was going to be. Where some of us were just kind of rolling with the punches and trying to make, moves as it goes through. But it's not so much the vision of the plan versus adapting your path to what you want to do.
And I don't know which one's better, because I've seen people like Eddie, for instance, shout out Eddie P, that knew what he wanted to do from day one. And I saw him, reach those goals and all that come into place and build a great life for himself. But also, I wouldn't trade it, because living life in the moment has brought so much joy in so many people and, good opportunities.
I think one of the things that's helped me the most with business is not getting so paralyzed, like paralysis by analysis, of trying to make the best decision. It's about learning how to make a decision, in your execution you make your decision that you made the best one.
Yeah.
But that's still kind of a rolling with the punches technique. Luckily, we have someone here in the studio today that you can make an argument has the opposite perspective of us. Actually, someone who changed their major. So it seems like the decision of doing what you're doing now started a long time ago, and respect for that path moving forward. Originally from St. Louis, Missouri, a fellow TSU legend. He's been the heartbeat of Nashville nightlife for what feels like 20 years. I've been going to this dude's parties for a long time. Previously owned or ran Jazz and Jokes, Fly Major Entertainment, Agenda. Currently owns or operates Minerva Ave, Weekend here, Weekend in Memphis, Supper Club on Belcourt, Supper Club on 2nd in Memphis, Bungalow 10, Jar 10, Sunset Lounge, and I'm sure there's something I forgot about. First black entrepreneur in Tennessee to release a limited edition Patron tequila, and he sits on the board of the Metro Nashville Tourism Board, probably making him more qualified to sit here and talk about the growth of the city and where it's going than anyone else that's sat on that couch. Welcome to the show, Black Rob.
Yeah, the legend.
What's up, Rob?
Man. How you doing? Really?
Man, good. Glad we finally made this work here, man.
For sure.
So you're what seems to be the staple now, Minerva Avenue over there on Buchanan. That's named after the street where you grew up, correct?
Right.
So what was your childhood like? What was your neighborhood up as a kid? And why is it something you wanted to pay homage to with what you're doing now?
I think that is everybody that talks about where they from, they wear it on their sleeve, but they use it in a way of a badge of how tough people are. Like, oh, I'm from such and such.
Yeah.
Or I'm from this, that which makes people feel like they may be a little bit more tougher than others. But when you think about the grand scheme of that doesn't do anything to uplift anybody. My purpose was to be in a situation where I was showing people that you can make it from a tough environment, but you actually show that you made it out tougher, and you're doing something that nobody else is doing. You're bringing your neighborhood up in a positive light rather than in a negative light. Because most people, when they talk about most neighborhoods, it's in a light of saying like, well, I'm from Memphis, and Memphis is the craziest place in the world. Well, I'm from Memphis, and I made it out of Memphis, and I helped raise 100 entrepreneurs from Memphis. Just saying in that, my
That's
thing
beautiful.
is, Minerva Avenue is St. Louis is known as it's been in the most violent cities in the country for the last decade, and Minerva Avenue is probably one of the worst streets in St. Louis, Missouri. So it's like I want to prove that somebody made it from these parts, and then is bringing their city out, putting a positive light on that street rather than a negative light on the street. You know what I mean? So now when people go to St. Louis, what they think of Minerva Avenue is not what the perception of what people in St. Louis may see or what people thought it was. So when people come to St. Louis, it's like, oh, this is a cool, I heard about this Minerva Street, I need to check it out. But I'm thinking it's Beverly Hills 90210.
Yep.
I didn't know it was like this. Like, wow, this is bad. But I'm not telling people it's bad because it brought beauty. You know what I mean? It raised some tough people. I always say it's a school of hard knocks. I learned so much that school couldn't teach me growing up on Minerva. So I wanted to bring a piece of that here, the beauty of it.
Now, so what, Minerva, is that on the north side of St. Louis?
Yes. No, it's on the west side.
West side.
Yeah, it's on the west side in the city, St. Louis.
Okay. Because I was trying to look it up on a map, and I noticed that, like, kind of right by where Minerva was, there was the, I don't know how to say it, Griot Museum of Black History.
In St. Louis?
Yeah.
You probably saying it wrong.
Yeah, I'm probably in. But anyway, there's a museum of Black history really close to Minerva.
Yeah, for sure.
So how much comparison is there to like that Minerva that you grew up in into that Buchanan, Jefferson Street area?
So it was in, I couldn't open a Minerva and put it I couldn't put it on Belcourt, say for instance, because it wouldn't resonate. The culture of Buchanan, the culture of North Nashville, it's similar, but it's different. You know what I mean? But it's in an area where, I felt like if I'm doing, this is the last piece of anything that I can do it and still feel like I'm giving some of the culture back from St. Louis and on a piece of Nashville. Of course that, North Nashville is changing every day in front of our eyes, like it's changing. So, but, it still has some correlation between Nashville and Minerva and St. Louis.
Had you ever been to Nashville before coming to TSU?
I ain't know where TSU was when I was in college, when I was in high school. I ain't know where TSU. I thought I was going to school with Peyton Manning. That's why I was telling my friends, I'm going to school with Peyton Manning went to. I didn't know it was the University of Tennessee and Tennessee State. I thought it was the same thing.
Right.
Like, why they call UT Tennessee State? I'm like, it's the same. My cousin went to TSU.
Okay.
Real close, and that's the reason why I went to TSU. I didn't know where TSU was though. I'm like, Tennessee State University. I'm thinking it's UT. I thought it was the same thing. I didn't know. End up coming like I'm in Nashville. Like, it's crazy, but ended up being a great decision for me.
Yeah. So about on the topic of decisions, while you were there, we were there at the same time. While you were there, you changed your majors to go into hospitality. What was it about what you were doing then promoting parties,
Mm-hmm.
doing this stuff that you were already getting tapped into there.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a decision now that we can look back on it of like a visionary perspective of like, this is what I want to do for forever? Like looking at what you're doing now, was that the start of it in college?
Yeah. So I actually still graduated with my pre-med.
Okay.
When it's
Didn't know
going
that.
to dentistry. Yeah, I still graduated because I was so far in. I was like, let me just finish this. But when I first threw my first party, I knew I wanted to get into hospitality. I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment industry because it just felt natural. It felt like something that I
What
wanted.
was that first party?
It was at John Henry's. I did,
Man.
you know what I mean, a back to school
Yeah.
type event at John Henry's. Rest in peace, is no longer with us.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's apartment buildings now.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to do it because of the feeling I got bringing people together, giving them an experience, giving them moments. It's like, yeah, I want to do this. But I was so far into my major, I'm like, nah, I can't change. But I knew I wanted to do something that I could be successful with. I could make money and make me happy. And that's what.
So we both spent a little bit of time in St. Louis. It seems a little more fast-paced than Nashville, especially back then. I'm not trying to date you, so I'm not going to ask any dates.
Yeah, no.
I mean, John Henry's it tells me.
Yeah.
But
Good times there.
did that help you as far as like, because Nashville I feel like was slower paced than it is now back then.
Right. So when I came here, that's my thought. Like, man, it's so ain't nobody doing ABCD. Like I'm from a city where it's like, man, you got to get up and get it. When I came here, it was like everybody coasting, going with the flow. Like, nah, we gotta do something. Like this, where I'm from, they constantly hustling, bustling. So,
Even
the
list of
Jazz and Joe.
I mean, you go through all the things you've done, and you're like, when do you sleep?
Man, listen, it's I'm asking myself that right now. I think now I'm starting to, settle down a little bit, but I still want it. Like, I still feel like it's like I lace up my shoes every day because it's somebody new every day that's, trying to get where I'm at. I feel like, or trying to take what I got. So not take, but somebody is always someone new in the game. So it's like I got to get better every day. It's like that's what keeps me going. Like Jay-Z made this comment. He said somewhere as a kid eating cereal at the table, rapping, trying to get me. He was like, I'm going to sign him. Like, I ain't going to let him get me. But in my end, it's like, yeah, I'm going to either work with him or I'm just going to outwork him.
We were just talking about that this morning about, the minute you take a day off, there's a hole in the market. And somebody's either going to step in, if you sleep for a minute or if you step out, there's always somebody to take your place that sees the opportunity. And, you got to be on your toes.
Always.
And it seems like as far as like the speed of the city, it seems like it's picking up a little bit.
It is. The city's getting faster. It's still got some growth to do, but it's becoming a more metropolitan city for sure. Yeah, people going out more.
Well, and you being on the board, that's big because somebody that's seen the whole growth go from nothing to something, and also that wants to keep I feel like an authenticity about it. Everything I've seen you do, you have kept true to what Nashville is and can be.
Right.
Yeah. When I think about those, like in my mind, when I think about those board meetings and stuff like that, it's still, I imagine like old white-haired white dudes that are just making decisions about how to put more money in their pockets. It's not really about the city and stuff like that.
Right.
So like, how accurate is that versus like
it's not just old white. I'm just
but like, do you face any like, I won't say combativeness, but like headbutting in there as someone that seems like they're actually fighting for the city,
right,
as opposed to like decision makers and things like that?
Right. I when I first sat in there, I used to think like, man, I'm just gonna say what I want to say. And I was met with, it was very combative. I wasn't, but I was met with, they, like, chill.
some resistance.
Resistance,
Yeah.
like you talking a lot, but it was just like I thought this is what I was here for, to talk. But getting a better understanding of how it works, how things, the systems in place that people are doing and trying to work within that system was a new adjustment for me because I do say all the time, like, tourism in Nashville is going through the roof, but how can we get more black tourism in the city?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As a business owner, I want a piece of the tourist dollars too, but, it doesn't seem to really trickle down to minority businesses.
Hmm.
A lot of people that are minority that come to Nashville because it is promoted so well, they come and they ask themselves, the first thing they know is Broadway.
Right.
Yeah.
They know Broadway, and they're looking like, let's go on Broadway. But after they get to Broadway, they like, where else can I go? They don't know. I hear that all the time. Like, man, somebody just take me to where some black people are at.
Yeah.
For real. And it's crazy that it's
Sometimes
that way.
I'll be saying that.
I mean, it's crazy because it's like it's not a lot. As busy as Nashville Broadway is, it should be more diversity. That's it. I don't think, and that's not a reflection of the tourism board. That's more just the city in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So many different things like, and they try to push the diversity. Even they sometimes like, I'm tired of cowboy boots and woohoos and all day. Like
We all are.
Yeah. But it's like, as a city, how can we get more diversity down on Broadway? Because at one point we used to go downtown. When I first got to Nashville, I was going downtown.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I've been downtown
Right. We
Nashville.
steer clear of it.
I mean,
You know
there's,
what I mean?
Grams, Faded,
Yeah, it used to be
Decades,
yeah.
Agenda,
Club
like
615.
Limelight.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
was
There were things to do.
downtown. Now it's
Yeah.
nothing.
Do you
got
think
one thing.
that? Obviously, I never asked you to say something on the microphones that someone would get mad about, but like that, Dre and Snoop got that bar part of that. Do you think that that's a good action towards bringing diversity to Broadway, or is that just another gimmick?
If you got to ask the question, then
All
you
right.
already know
All
the
right,
answer
yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like,
That's all I need to
Come
hear
on,
on that.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, we always said
Yeah.
growing up, you could tell if somebody wasn't from here, was just visiting, because we didn't wear cowboy hats or
Right.
boots. We weren't ranchers.
Mhm.
The people that were from the country were baling hay, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, that made the tourist stand out. Big camera, big cowboy hat. We worked on Broadway for a long time. And, this whole thing the show's about is about the fact that we're both from here. And there's a lot of people from here that hate seeing change. Everybody's sad if a restaurant closes or a club closes or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're sad about it, but I think we realized early, like, if you don't embrace the change, then your city's going to die. And seeing Nashville explode, but small business owner myself, it doesn't trickle down to me. I have a date night entertainment, art business, but it doesn't come to me either. You know what I mean? And like, I like where you're going there. Like, polished, and I mean, I don't want to say anything that ruffles any feathers either, but like the polished, the Broadway, billionaires owning businesses that have made it a flashy, no matter whose name's on it, that's not who owns the building.
Right.
And it's not putting more money in anybody's pocket or getting people the real experience of Nashville, as I would call it. You gotta, at this point, you still got to do it old school and ask a local if you can find one.
Yeah.
Where
If
do
you
I
can
go?
find one.
Where do I really go to have a good time?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And find a local.
I
I mean,
agree.
that's kind of how we started this podcast, is because the people that are doing stuff that we as locals like, that are really moving and shaking, still now are getting to the point where they're not even from here. Like,
Right.
you're not from here, but you're actually fighting for the city. But at the time
Right.
that you're here in college, what was it about Nashville? You can say like a business decision that, no one's doing, ABCD like you were talking about. So there's obviously like a hole here. And if no one's going to jump in and fill that hole and make some money off of it. But was there anything like really about the city itself that you said, hey, I'm not from here, I didn't even know where this place was. Not a lot of black people here.
Mm-hmm.
Why stay and make this your home? At this point, I feel like you're
From here.
from
Yeah.
here. Like, I mean, you're associated with the city of Nashville at this
Right.
point. So, like, what was it about the city that kind of made that transition for you?
I think on my end, it was more or less a situation where I opened my first business and I just became like working. And then from the day I opened my first business, I ain't stopped. But it was like, I liked Nashville because back then it was affordable. You know what I mean? Like, I could make some money and my money would go far. Like, I could, if I wanted to open something, real estate was cheap. I wanted to buy a house. Housing was affordable. If I wanted to live in a penthouse downtown, it was affordable. If I wanted to rent, it was affordable. If I wanted to purchase, affordable. Lease, affordable. Gas, affordable. Prices, affordable. It was like, and I was able to make money. It was like, cool, I like this. I can do this. And I went to school here. I could do this. And then, like, suddenly it all just changed. And since that changed, I've been like, man, any of my close friends know, like, I've been saying I'm going to move from Nashville for the last 12 years, 15 years almost. Like, I'm leaving. Like, even this year, I'm like, man, I'm leaving. Like, because not that I'm going to close my businesses. I just wanted a breath of fresh air because it's like, for what I'm paying here, I can literally live anywhere in the country, the world almost. Like, I can live anywhere in the world. Granted, maybe San Francisco, New York, maybe LA. That's it.
Right.
Miami, maybe certain places, but you're justifiably paying the same amount you're paying in any big market in the U.S. and Nashville. And it's like, if I'm living in a city that I can't go downtown and see people that look like me at all these businesses, or see tourism come in that look like me, it's like, what?
Right.
Go to a basketball game and have a courtside seat. I'm paying more than all these other cities, and I don't got none of that. So it's like, I keep my businesses to make money, but I'm gonna go live somewhere else.
There has to be an entrepreneur side of you too that goes, I've seen this happen in Nashville. Where's the next city that's going to pop off? Because it's going to happen.
Right, and that's another thing. That's why I be so in tight to Memphis and St. Louis, because I be thinking like, all right, this is gonna happen somewhere else.
It's got to spread out. It's got to grow. It's getting too condensed.
Because you own
now.
some businesses in Memphis now, too.
Yeah. I got businesses in Memphis as well.
But, like, even with that, like, you're still going to be so tied to Memphis.
Right.
I guess one question I got that's not directly on that subject, but I have to ask, because as I've been talking about this actually happening, us closing in on a date, I've been using your name, Black Rob.
Mm-hmm.
People look at me a little crazy when I say that. How long have you been Black Rob? And is there a deeper meaning than the surface level of why that is your name?
I had a friend in college named Will. It was two Robs. And he used to always be like, which Rob y'all talking about? And Will used to be like, Black Rob. And then from then it was like, which Rob you talking about? The Black Rob. I don't even know where White Rob at. I don't know where Light Skin Rob at. I don't know. But
I never heard that till TSU. Like,
Yeah.
I never heard like the differentiate. But
Yeah, the colorism at TSU is kind of what
right.
caught me more off guard than.
Nah, and when they say black, it's not a thing of like,
it's not negative.
it's not negative.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't say Black Rob. Like, no, it's like saying, you know, Pretty Tony or Red Regina. Like, I'm dark.
Yeah. Right.
So it was like Black Rob, or it was a light skinned Rob. He was real lighter than me. So it was like, which Rob you talking about?
Yeah.
The light one or the dark? Black Rob. You know what I mean? That's
just
where it
kinda
came
stuck.
from. It just came from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was like, which Rob you talking about? And it was two of us.
So from that first party, and when did Black Fly or Fly Major come about?
Black Fly, that's funny. So Fly Major came because my partner, he was doing a promotional company called Major League, throwing parties around campus. I was doing a promotional company called Fly Guy Entertainment. We was throwing parties around campus, and then like one day we like, let's join forces. and he was fly. I was fly guy. He was major league. We joined together and got fly major. Then the rest was history. Like we was throwing parties all the time.
Parties, music videos.
Yeah, we
I
was
mean,
doing
y'all
everything.
were early
Y'all were
Jelly Roll
everywhere.
days.
Yeah. When Jelly Roll was rapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Doesn't
we
seem
say
like
early,
it was that long ago, but
but yeah, I mean, a lot of local talent.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. I remember Jelly Roll was rapping back in the day. It's crazy.
Before we go to a break, everybody that's been involved in some sort of nightlife, entertainment, music industry, anything in the entertainment world at all, seems to have a Pac-Man Jones story. So I'm not asking this because I know a certain one thing that I want you to say, out loud. But do you have a Pac-Man Jones story that you can share with us?
Pac-Man. Yeah, I mean everybody got a Pac-Man Jones story. All my Pac-Man Jones stories is good. Like he like of course Pac-Man was the first superstar accessible athlete that I seen in Tennessee for the Titans. Of course you had recipe Steve McNair and Eddie George, but they wasn't Pac-Man. Pac-Man was like the Dennis Rodman of the Titans.
Yeah, he was.
But he was like an athlete that could actually do what he needed to do, and he was good at what he did. I think that, oh man, I don't have no bad
Because
names.
we love Pac-Man.
Yeah, I love Pac.
I feel like he's an honorary member of the Nashville native. As far as like
I don't think the
have the key
Titans
to
give
the
him his
city.
due diligence.
I don't think
No,
so
they
either.
should.
But everybody, we've had Dola White in here. Like everybody seems to have like a Pac-Man story, and it's just that's not even anything I thought we would end up asking every guest. But
Pac used to come in the club and like just man.
I remember him, and I brought this up with Dola.
Energy.
I saw him open up the Street Dreams tour with Dola White and Scooby.
Oh, really?
And come out with Lido. Grey Goose was hot at the time, and I mean, I'll never forget. He come out and he said, "I picked street life over the NFL any day." And I mean, the place, this municipal, but the place erupted. The roof went off of it. You know what I mean? But it's like you said, you didn't see any other athlete in there accessible. See him in the club, see him out here.
Right. You see,
see him riding down Buchanan through the hood, just.
Yeah, he had that box Chevy you'd pull up on campus.
Right. I don't think Pat get his due diligence enough because what he did for the Titans, I don't think that, like, even when they bring the Titans back, all the old Titans, I don't never see Pac-Man come back.
No.
Do you think it's because the choices he made of being that accessible in the nightlife? I think they're really holding that back like that?
Yeah, I think some of the stuff that happened to him, in the clubs, he just had a lot of club incidents. But I mean, Pac-Man Jones, all his club incidents gonna make the news. But I think the Titans might just, I don't know if they don't want to be associated with certain things. I don't know. But he was like he a top Titans player. Like, give him his due diligence. Mm-hmm. And he's very polished. He's way more polished now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he's got a podcast and everything now.
Right. Why don't they honor him like he should be honored?
We should give him his flowers.
Right, right. Because, I mean, nobody's perfect.
No.
Nah.
If you gave me that amount of money, I wouldn't still be here.
Mm-hmm.
Much less, polished and ready to go like Pac-Man is at that age.
Investments and
you know
stuff.
What I mean?
Blown it all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's just, I think he do what he do. He's purposeful for Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that kind of leads us up into just the background of who you are. We're going to take a quick break here, a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back here with Black Rob. We are back here at the Music City Mindset, and we are here with Black Rob. Rob, listening to you talk about the Nashville that you walked into after never being here before, and then hearing some of the things of like the things you're saying that you don't love about the city that it is now, that would maybe be the decision making and you like keeping your business open but living somewhere. How do you process that, realizing that like with the growth and everything of what you've done, you're kind of part of the problem of growing the city to where it is now, but also then not loving what the city has to offer now as far as bang for the buck and things like that. Like, I understand everything you're saying, but it kind of seems like you are part of the problem with growing the city, the attractions, things like that, of making this such a destination city. When you came here to go to college, this was not a destination city. And now, because of your efforts, regardless of the color of your skin, there is something available for you here in this city, making this a destination city. Making that a destination makes it where property values go up and things like that. So how do you try, like inside those like tourism boards, like how are you balancing the idea of what you think the city needs to be able to have the growth, but not make it so inaccessible and running some of us locals out?
Well, first I appreciate you, calling me part of the problem because of the growth, because from so many years I've been told the opposite. I think that my persistency is the reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing and give people these outlets to have places to go, because if the city had it their way, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have none of that stuff that you talked about in the beginning of the place, because I've been every chance they get, I'm getting attempted to, notice, citation. They've tried to, on numerous occasions, close my businesses, but it's like my persistency and my fortitude and God, first and foremost, has kept my doors open. So it's like, yeah, the city's growing and I'm helping out with giving people something to do. But if the city had it their way, I wouldn't be having these businesses at all, because any given second they serve me with something saying, well, we got to close this, or you're doing this wrong, or if you don't do this right. It's kind of like, what? You know what I mean? So, and so from the outside looking in, yeah, it's like, oh man, this business is giving people stuff to do. But in the inside, coming from the inside, it's like, nah, listen, they don't want me to be giving people something to do. You know what I mean? So it's like, and if the city had it their way, there wouldn't be venues like mine in the inner city. Yeah. You know what I mean? It would just be full of honky tonks.
Right. There's enough honky tonks, by the way.
Yeah, there's enough of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and it sucks that like it takes someone who's been around you in different chapters that I've seen you, for someone to like truly give you your flowers. But it would be impossible to not put your name in that category of what's doing good for the city. But I mean, you had to deal with a lot of things, not even just the citations that I know you don't post about on social media.
Right.
But you've had to deal with fires. You've had to deal with some racist ass liquor store owners and things like that just seem like it's just another obstacle in your way. But yet you're persistently fighting for this community and essentially for that growth of this city.
Right.
Which I think is not only just a testament to your character, but also that this city is still worth fighting for, even when it seems like it's making it harder for the people that are trying to help it.
Right.
What was that like going through some of those things? The fire weekend, everything that like that liquor store dealing with. Like, what is your mindset into doing that? Is it pettiness, or is it like, what is your mindset to get you through that? Because you handle it way better than I would handle it if I was in those situations. So kudos to you on that. But like, what is your mindset when you're having to face these obstacles?
Honestly, it's draining. You know what I mean? the liquor store situation is crazy because why I shouldn't even have to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then turn around, it's like now I have a partnership with a liquor brand. It's like,
Yeah.
you know how God make your enemies your footstools. So it's kind of like, all right, cool, I dealt with it. But I didn't know later down the line it was setting me up for something bigger than that little situation. My purpose of putting it out is because there's so much silent prejudices that go on. You know what I mean? And that needs to be addressed. Like I say, why do most 90% of black people don't like going downtown Broadway? Because they don't feel accepted. Why don't they feel accepted? Let's discuss about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just simple. Like why we feel comfortable telling each other, but we don't say nothing on the, we don't discuss it with the city or talk about it openly. And that's a problem with, minorities. Like we're quick to, they that, but they got a problem with my business, they gonna say something. Rob, you screwed me. Like we don't want to go there. But it's like, it's blaring when you go downtown on Broadway that you may not feel welcome. You know what I mean? But no one says nothing. No one talks about it. And it's like, it's nothing wrong with the conversation. You know what I mean? Because it's not everyone. But and sometimes people are tone deaf to not even know that this exists. So how do we even start that dialect? You know what I mean? Like, look, hey, Nashville, look, this makes certain people feel uncomfortable. How do we, change that? Because, hey, they may not, hey, guys, we didn't know. You know what I mean? It could be that simple. But the conversation still needs to be had. You know what I mean? Because it's there. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that in situations like that, or when it comes to, the weekend situation, I don't know why someone tried to burn down Weekend. I still don't know why they tried to burn down Weekend, but it shows the strength in Weekend because it stood tall. You know what I mean? And I think that's a testament with so many people. When you face with adversity, when you face with challenges, how would you stand? Are you gonna fold or you gonna stand tall? And I think that's a testament to the business. And unfortunately, that didn't stop Weekend. The city stopped. I mean, the people that own the building stopped Weekend. Like, nah, we don't want to renew your lease. Honestly, they had been trying to get us out of that building for the last 8 years. Before we closed, they were fighting us for 8 years to get us out of that building. It just so happened the lease was up. It's like, all right, now you got to go. We don't have to fight no more. But it's kind of like, that's what happens so much. You know what I mean? You get a building, now it's like, nah, we don't want this. We want to tear this down to build condos, or we don't want this in this neighborhood. The same thing happened with Agenda. I'm technically still in lease. I should still be having a lease at Agenda to this day. I had 3 5-year extensions. You know what I mean? But I got out because for whatever reason, they found a loophole to say, look, we don't want this right here. And you don't fit our plan. And the plan was what it is now. You see, now that's the Gulch. When I had it, it was just 609 9th Avenue South.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a warehouse next door to it. We was just doing a venue there. Now it's like dog park, high rise, condos, restaurants. It's called the Gulch. I'm like, what?
That's barely the Gulch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's what that was. Oh, this is why you guys didn't want us here. Because having this in this area doesn't match. You don't feel comfortable. So when they don't feel comfortable, they remove the situation or find ways to find loopholes. Well, let's change the subject. How do we act when we don't feel comfortable? And what are the guidelines when we don't feel accepted in places? Because it's a two-way street. That's the way the world works. You know what I mean? But now the property, and when it's minority business, the property value goes down. Well, when it's not minority, the property value goes up. And now you look at it from that standpoint, the property value in the Gulch went up when we closed. But you said that your point was like, hey, Rob, you may be part of the problem causing the growth of Nashville and the growth of prices and taxes and da-da-da. Well, to the city, I'm not. Because the property value goes up when we leave. It doesn't go up when we're there. Even Buchanan, as much as I've done for that area, you take us out, then they come and do they come and do this neighborhood. Now the property value goes up. Why it go up when we leave?
It's never enough for them either.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
never.
it's like when I see you get a spot, and not you specifically, but like now I see an area getting hot in this era. Let me take that now.
Yeah,
You know, I grew up in East Nashville. It's not the place I grew up in now. When I
Right.
ride through, I'd like to show my kids where I grew up,
up it. It's never.
but it doesn't even resemble the same place.
It don't. Yeah,
Which, you know, like we were saying earlier, some change is inevitable, but with the deep history in Nashville, just from the sit-ins and the civil rights
Right.
and stuff, and then mayor after mayor, like everybody could say, what's the mayor we got now? It's the mayor we had. You've seen mayor after mayor pour money into the same areas,
right,
Mhm.
you know, and never do anything
right.
for the other side or the other places.
But-
And
Because they don't have the reason why you don't really see it. They don't pour money because it's not full control. You know, it's still too many. It's still a lot of the infrastructure. Yeah, they still got $1 million townhomes on Buchanan. It's still they build it. It's like, hey, we want this doesn't fit. Why doesn't this fit? When nobody wanted to be over here, I pulled up.
mhm.
I had a business. I invested in my community. Now, as you run out of space everywhere else to gentrify, hey, let's go here. It's close to downtown. Now you don't fit. Let's try to get these people out. Let's make it hard on them. And that's just how it's been. That's just dates back to history before.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like nobody talks about that. You know what I mean? The difficulties people face. And, you know, when you get these platforms, you know, now I speak on it. Like, you know, just to let people know, look, I was dealing with this. I deal with this every day. You know what I mean? Like, when I open my doors, I'm bound to see police officer, Metro Code, somebody
Health
complaining,
department.
somebody. And it's
Because they
like,
weaponize them.
yeah, and it sometimes what's
Like a
crazy
gang.
is it's sometimes it's the people that look like me that's doing it too.
Right.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, you
Well,
know,
now, I've watched you get blamed for crime that happened on Buchanan
right?
that had nothing to do with
me.
Minerva. It just
Right.
because it's close to Minerva.
They're blaming on me.
So we shut
And
them
I have
down.
to sit. You was in the meetings. I have to sit and explain myself like this wasn't me, and it'd be on the news, and they'll say, "Oh, they was leaving such and such," but then it be crime that happened in North Nashville. Man, I'm finding out crime after crime after crime after crime at Airbnbs and this. It nobody never talks about it. Sweeps under the rug.
If you go to Dickerson Road Walmart and you want to talk about the crime at Lowe's and Dickerson Road Walmart in the parking lot, they're not going to blame Walmart.
Nah,
It's because you're reachable. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But if you knew the overdoses, the crimes, the shootings, the robbery, you
They-
name it, they don't do that. They don't say they were leaving a Walmart or they were, you know, the way
Nah.
they would do with your nightclubs and
they
things.
wouldn't do that because that's too close. That's too close to right. You know what I mean? So it's like, of course they're not gonna say that. Of course they're not going to put that out there. But I find myself defending my businesses like, hey, that had nothing to do with my business. Hey, that had, or it's kind of like trash on the street. I get blamed for that. We're in North Nashville where people
Right.
walking down the street every day. You know why trash is on the street? Because the city don't have no trash cans on the street. Put some trash cans on the street. You know why
Mhm.
people flying down North Nashville? Put some crosswalks. Put some stop signs. They're not gonna do that yet because, hey, it's still, we don't really control the street yet. So why invest in this street right now? Let's let it, yeah, you can still build $1 million townhomes, but we don't control it. Let's still keep the property value down. Because wealth is generated through real estate. A lot of stocks, hedge funds, but through real estate.
Mhm.
If we make the property value go up while too many people that don't look like us own it, we're gonna make them what? Wealthy. So let's not uplift this community just yet. But some developers ain't waiting; they still building. So it's starting to look the same. It's only a matter of time. But you look at 12 South, you can't just fly down 12 South. They got stop signs, they got
Right.
crosswalks, they got lights. You can literally, when you turn right on Buchanan after you get off that first light, you can fly up until you get to that little. I don't even understand why they did it. They put this little divider thing in the middle. Why they put that there?
Stupid.
They got 2 trash cans on Buchanan. You know where they at? In front of the 2 Airbnbs, farther down. Not in front of the businesses that are on Buchanan. They're further down.
In front of the Airbnbs.
In front of the Airbnbs. So it's kind of like you ask yourself, why is this taking place? This is why the things are taking place.
Yeah.
And until it changes, we always gonna be, it's marginalized.
So on that subject, but getting away from it, you've now gotten out of the North Nashville area, and you've opened up some nightlife spots in the like Belcourt area,
right.
Which is not where, of course, I'm not in this business, so
Right.
I'm not an expert, but not where I would have thought one of the poppin' nightclubs of A-list, athletes, celebrities are going.
Yeah.
But literally, just since you and I set a date to do this, I mean, it's been Soldier Boy, Big X, Neo, Young Dro, all the Titans, Grizzlies. Like, you got over there on Belcourt popping. What was that decision like of figuring out if that's something you could do in that area?
So like I said, real estate hard to come by in Nashville. I worked to get that building. It took me a while. I made it happen. It took me 8 months to get that building. I just needed a building. They was closing weekend down. Actually, they just tore it down like last week. But I got the building, and I was like, look, I'm gonna make something out of this. Belcourt, Hillsborough Village was that part was the forgot about area of Nashville. Nobody wanted to be over there because it was dead. After they built the hotel, the apartments, back in the early 2000s, late in the 90s and 80s, Hillsborough Village was what Broadway is. That's where everybody. That was the place to go. But then it got old, outdated. They tore down Jackson's. They tore down, a lot of the restaurants. Sunset Grill left. It lost its touch. Cabanas. Then it used to be Iguanas. Lost its touch. When I got over there, you could see the little sandballs going down Hillsborough Village. Nobody go over there. So getting it was kind of like, yes, the property value was high because it's over there by Vanderbilt, Belmont, all the colleges. But it wasn't attractive to business owners. So I'm like, look, you give me anything, I'm going to try to make the most of it. And that's what we did, and we built something that, we could be proud of. We built Supper Club, Sunset, Jarton, and Bungalow. And it's like a little Belcourt Square. And people come and people enjoy it. And, when athletes and stuff come in town, they do come by, So it's like what started off as just like, all right, just let me figure out how I can open something now that I'm losing one. Turned into like, boom, we got all these spots right next to each other. And we kind of breathed life into an area that was dead for years.
So, for now that they tore that building down, there is a spot available next to Minerva.
Yeah.
Is there any talks about bringing Weekend back?
Man, I'm definitely gonna bring Weekend back. You know what I mean? I'm definitely gonna bring Weekend back. I actually was in the process of doing it, but then my work-life balance got too busy, and I couldn't do it at the time because I just mentally I cared about my my headspace. I didn't have the bandwidth, so opportunity I had, I passed on it. End up getting everything in order, and now I'm back rejuvenated. Been looking at spaces that make sense, but just trying to figure out the best place to go. Because when I do it, I want to do it right, and I also want to set my footprint where I build these and they just last. I don't have to worry about 5-7 years from now my hard work having to start back over. So, but I'm definitely gonna do it before the Super Bowl get here for sure.
You've always been amazing at staying ahead of the curve and just in the front of it, and not only that, setting an ambiance and knowing. And it's. I wish I could have been at some of those like early parties, you know, because we were at Jazz and Jokes. We were at a lot of these, and it just hit me of like how many babies and relationships and
everything
are on your shoulders,
people
man.
don't, that's what I be trying to tell people. I'm a lot of people's grandfather, man. Like, or godfather, however you want to put it. Like, I helped a lot of people meet their spouse. Had I not created some of these events, you probably wouldn't have met your girlfriend, your wife. You wouldn't have had that kid. You know what I mean? Like, that business idea, that relationship.
There were so many few places back in the day, and even now, where you can have that kind of vibe and dancing, and everybody's happy.
Right.
Everybody's feeling the vibe in the room. It's contagious.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and to your point about like what it takes and not wanting to see something happen in 5 to 7 years, because you do put in a lot of work to it. I feel like you're always like tweaking the patio.
Right. Making
different color booths, different type of flooring. Like you're
never
always
gets stale.
tweaking it.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Because I feel like people get complacent, and they get, it just becomes another thing. So you always want to try to keep people, something new about this. This is different. Because if not, then it'll just get old. And, I don't,
You're good at building anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, because it was, if I didn't end up at a party, we had an away game or something, like, there was always something that I'd hear about like happen. I was like, I knew I should have been there. Like,
right.
Like, and obviously you can't like do that part of it. But like, it's almost like, the FOMO.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It definitely is something you've capitalized on like making sure that like you got to be there. But it was interesting to bring up something, the way you said something earlier about like, now you're getting to the point of like, you really grinded really hard and now you're kind of, I don't want to say cruise control,
right?
But like you've got some things that you can really like hang your hat on and really like dig deeper with your roots as opposed to spreading out far and things like that. But on that same note, especially following you on socials, what was it, last week or 2 weekends ago, where people were blowing you up about tables, and like there was like this like little bit of gratitude and almost like seemed like a spark from you of like I can't believe this person's texting me, this person is hitting me up, like,
right.
And it wasn't just one, it was a list of people that were like there.
Yeah.
So obviously you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but like, did that re-spark like energy into you doing what you were doing?
So,
and the last part of that is, what is a number in your phone right now that like when you like scrolling through to like, I need to text Blake or something, like you see that contact and it's like, damn, I'm doing the damn thing.
Yeah. So 3 weeks ago, like sometimes you gotta remind yourself who you are and what you do. Sometimes you gotta remind people. Like, so it was kind of like a situation where I'm like, I've been coasting too much. I had to step back and get back into my, all right, Rob, it's time for you to get back in your promotion. Get back on your bag and do what it is you need to do. Like, and it's like, regardless of the situation, you got to get back on what you do. And I think that's more or less what it was. Like, all right, Rob, it's time for you to put up. And I just knew I had to put up. I had to put up and put out. Like, wasn't nothing going to stop me from being successful that night. And when I get and it's like I hadn't been in that mode in like 5 years, so it's like I'm back in that mode. Like I ain't been there because I've been so much of a business owner. I forgot how I felt to. All right, Rob, you got to sell these tables. All right, Rob, you got to go out and get these people. All right, Rob, because my business is just run and I just market my business. Going back to promoting, like, all right, it's time to get back.
That's where the love is. That's
where it was. And it kind of re-sparked my flame. Because every time sometimes you got to just, sometimes you got to pop out and show people like, all right, I do this. So.
Yeah, because it's like, Big Jeff and Ja and
Yeah.
like, it was,
Everybody came. Everybody that night. A lot of people came out. You know what I
yeah,
mean? A lot of people came out, and but it's crazy. Like it's been like that. You know,
Yeah.
I just sometimes it's like so much history behind a lot of the events I do that I even forget. And it's like every year you got some new coming in, like I say, and you got to just remind, like you're not as, and it goes to me, you only as good as today to people, to the world we live in today. They don't care about last year. They don't care about the year before. They don't care about what you doing now. And that's what gets me up. It's like what I'm doing now. All right, this is what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So that's just, that's my take on, life now. It's like, Rob, what you doing now? You know?
I mean, you could hang it up right now, and everybody would say like,
Oh, he had a guy.
you've
Yeah.
submitted yourself in Nashville history.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
being from here, but like we said earlier, like you've been here long enough, like we consider
Right.
you a Nashville native, and I mean, my grandkids will talk. I mean, I have faith that they'll talk about Black Rob one day. You know,
they have
like,
to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, it wasn't just like seeing you associated with like NBA players, NFL players, because that's been going on
Yeah.
probably since before you graduated, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
but like watching you almost like get a little giddy again
Right.
to be around. Text about rappers. You've been around rappers. You've been around pro athletes for a long time now. But it seemed like there was this extra little like
spark in me.
Yeah, it was like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this.
I said I ain't had that in a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to give yourself that reminder. You got to give yourself that motivation. Because like I said, like you said, I got a lot of contacts in my cell phone, from people that I've been
Couldn't
knowing
imagine.
from years. Like it's crazy. Like I could probably sit and, how when new athletes come in the city, well, they sit down and tell people, look, you're a rookie now. Da, 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 da. I could sit and talk to athletes. That's how many rookies I've seen come in, and I've seen some people make the right mistakes, some people make the wrong mistakes, and even from my I don't know what all they got going on in their life, but from my seat and what my viewpoint, I say some of the things that I saw, hey, you might want to avoid this, or some of the things I say, hey, this was a good idea. I've seen these people do, but like it dates back. 2005 was when I first started building relationships with athletes. And I think that's 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, imagine, ain't nobody in the NFL that I started with that I know that's still playing from the time that I started. But I've met so many people along the way. You know what I mean? And you realize that you watch, and I watched them mature, when they was young, from being here, then they have to come down one thing I want to like after you retire is like back to the real world, and some people really don't know what's next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's big. Don't get lost in the now. Start planning for the future. So it's like that's what I look at now. That's my biggest thing. And where I'm at, I want to enjoy the journey. I want to enjoy the ride. I don't want to get so lost in the now that I don't appreciate the now. But I'm appreciating the now, trying to make sure I'm comfortable a year from now, 5 years from now, and I could just sit back, because I never want to just retire out. I just want to just coast. The guy that, Tillman Fertitta, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but he owns the Houston Rockets. He owns a lot of restaurants. One of the biggest hospitality owners in the world. It's probably, a lot of the chain restaurants, Danvers, like all the big restaurants he owns. But he's in his 60s. But he's still able to do it, but he does it from a different level, a different seat. Sometimes, I started as a practice player. Then I got in the game. Then I became a go-to guy, a star player. Next, you might become a coach. Then you become an owner. Then you just sit back and watch. You know what I mean? So it's like in this game, it's just different levels you go to. But I never just want to retire out. I don't know what I'm going to do when I do. What I'm going to do, build houses?
I feel like and you said this earlier, talking about Minerva, is like how many entrepreneurs come out of there? How many, instead of focusing on like trying to get street cred from this neighborhood or this or that, how many people come to you, young guys, and say like, how do I get started? Look for that mentorship, like, because I feel like you're just a wealth of knowledge at this point.
Every day. I'm helping somebody every day. My gift and my curse is that I help people. My gift is my gift. My curse is that I help people. you know, and sometimes you don't really know what people.
You can't help some people.
Yeah,
And
you
then
can't
if they can't help themselves,
yourself.
but you can help other people.
But sometimes in helping people, it's like you don't know their aim. You know, sometimes you can help somebody and it comes back and bite you. Sometimes it can come back and feed you. I just don't look at the good or bad of helping people.
Yeah.
I just know that God put me on this earth to help and to share knowledge and to feed into my community. So regardless of what they do with the information, regardless of what they do with the knowledge that I give them, we all here to serve. You know what I mean? Like, granted, some people don't do it. Some people retain the knowledge, but I can't take this knowledge with me when I go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I see somebody that can use it, my job, no matter how I feel about the person, no matter how I feel about the situation, is to make sure that they can learn from my mistakes. So if it took me 13 years to do it, you should be able to do it in 6. You know what I mean? And that's how I keep my karma. That's how I'm probably able to maintain. I think God sent me tests. Like, I'm gonna send these people into you. If you help them, I'm gonna keep helping you, because I don't do it by myself. We all got a higher power. So it's like, if I continue to feed and pour into people and pour into my community, pour into my peers, then I feel like God will continue to pour into me. Because people tell me all the time, Rob, you need to, man, I wouldn't be helping this person, or I wouldn't do this, or man, you need to sell that, man, teach a class, man, do this, do that. It's like, yeah, I could do that, but still, I feel like I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like people are too focused on where they want to get to in the future that they don't enjoy the journey.
Right.
Which is really going to be some of the greatest memories you ever have.
Man.
But some people are so
Stuck
dead
on the
set
journey.
on right here, right now, that they're making things harder for themselves in the future. So being
Right.
able to balance that,
Right.
I think, like what you're talking about, is the key to really a longevity of business.
Right. Like, I'm locked in on my, you know, my purpose in life, and I'm locked in on enjoying my ride. You know what I mean? Because the thing about it is, if I could go back to college when I was throwing parties, I didn't realize how easy I had it. I was having the most fun in life, but I was so focused on everything else. I didn't enjoy the journey. Now I just want to enjoy the journey. Go for the ride. Because we don't know what that time clock look like for none of us.
Mm-mm.
So it's like, I don't want to get up there and I say, God, man, I wasn't finished. He's like, yes, you was. You was just so busy on what's next that you didn't appreciate what's now. You know what I mean? So I want to appreciate what's now. And what's now is whatever God put in front of me. I want to enjoy this ride. I'm going to ride these wheels off.
Amen.
Amen. Well, we always wrap these up with pretty much asking, like, you know, hearing you talk about, you know, what you're trying to do and the mindset you have now and kind of rejuvenated. What is next? What's on the docket?
So for me, I want to, so of course I still have my business. I want to open a weekend in Nashville. I want to give it a weekend, even though it's like, Rob, you got so much on your plate. Why something else? Because I never want to feel like I left something on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if I honestly, when I open weekend, I don't think I want to do nothing else because I'm already bandwidth out. But I feel like I got something else on the table. I can't leave nothing on the table. And I feel like opening the weekend will help me do that. After that, I just want to explore different markets, different countries, like just in the hospitality game, just learning in different markets, opening businesses in different markets, doing business in different cities, and, you know, even abroad. I looked at doing business abroad. I want to, this next run I go on, I want to do it in just everywhere. It's 6 billion people in the world. I want to get to know more than just Tennessee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to see what's out there in the world, just meet different people, different cultures, different ways of how people look. Because, I mean, this 20 years I've been in Nashville went by fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went by fast. And I think about all the people I know, but it's like, it's so many more people in the world. I just want to experience the world, you know. So that's what's next to me. God willing, that's what I want to do.
I look forward to popping in at the weekend. Man, you dress yourself.
Man, I do.
You super fly.
I appreciate it,
every
man.
post super fly.
I
don't know if you got help.
man. No
People helping
stylist.
you pick stuff out or
Nah, don't nobody help me, man. I ain't got time to sit down with no stylist, man. I wish. I don't get no help, man.
Well,
Dang.
fashion's fire. That Patron is
Yeah.
fire.
I appreciate it.
This episode was fire. If you liked it as much as I did, if you got anything out of it, please don't keep on scrolling until you hit that like, that subscribe, that follow. I am Black Rob on Instagram. You can find all of his businesses there. And for the love of Nashville, tune into the next one.